Welcome, everybody. I'm Jodi Franklin. We'll be introducing ourselves a little formally later. But today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why you're suffering with urticaria and what to do about it.
So we really want you to get the most out of this webinar. So, don't fall into the trap of multitasking. Silence your phone, turn off your notifications, and really focus on the webinar. Take notes. And you can enter your questions in the chat, and we'll get to those at the end. And then stick with us to the end so that we can show you how you can put your symptoms into remission.
Very exciting. So we're going to talk about how the skin issues do begin in the gut, a little bit more about histamine overload, some food choices and the right choices for urticaria, toxins and stress and how they affect urticaria, and also talk about some of the issues that are associated with some of the medications you may be taking. So I just want to introduce myself. I'm Jodi Franklin, and I actually suffered with chronic urticaria for 20 years. And I remember going into the doctor for the first time and being prescribed a whole host of medications to try to fix my urticaria. And I remember the Benadryl worked, but it only worked because it knocked me out and made me go to sleep. So I didn't wake up in the middle of the night scratching like crazy. But nothing really worked very well except prednisone, which you can't stay on long term. And I had concerns about taking prednisone because there's so much cancer in my family, and long-term use we'll discuss it in a few minutes. But so I had concerns about that. And then when I went off the prednisone, I'd have rebound reaction, worse than even taking it in the first place. And some days my feet were so swollen, I couldn't even walk. I was literally had to stay in my bed, or I was crawling to go to the bathroom. I mean, it was that bad. I remember most nights I would wake up in the middle of the night scratching till I bled. And a lot of you may not realize that histamine can peak at night. And so it's a lot of you probably realize that. But I remember grabbing ice and rubbing it all over me, or jumping in an ice cold bathtub to try to relieve my awful suffering. I had really bad joint pain when I had flares. I had brain fog, which I thought maybe I had like early dementia or something. I was forgetting things, and I really always felt like I was in a fog. But I did notice over time that there were specific triggers that did make my symptoms worse. And this prompted me to change things up and try different things, try eating differently and doing different things. And I noticed I had fewer symptoms, and the hives weren't coming quite as often and quite as intensely. And this prompted me to really learn and make a go of it. And I turned around, I went back to school, and I studied nutrition and functional medicine. And now I'm happy to say that I am free from hives 100%. I'm in remission. I'm off all the medications, and I can't even believe it. It's so amazing to be able to drink a glass of wine and not break out, or be able to travel and not have issues with, crying in the hotel room because I can't walk. It's just been amazing and so liberating. But I also noticed that my energy came back, my brain fog went away, and I actually think more clearly now as I'm about to turn 60 than I did in my 20s. And everything just got better for me. My joint pain went away. And then I continued to refine and improve my health via research. And I helped other people with urticaria, which some of the people I've worked with, it's turned around in as little as 6 weeks to 3 months. Some people it takes a little longer, but I'm able to help others, which is really exciting. And I made such a study of functional medicine that I became a teaching consultant for the school where I learned it. So I help other practitioners with their most difficult patient cases. I'll meet with them and do a consultation with them to help them. So I have a real knack for helping people put their diseases into remission. And my clients continue to get breakthrough results working with me. I work with clients worldwide. I'm actually in, I think, 5 continents now, with people with all kinds of chronic skin diseases and autoimmune diseases, and even anxiety and depression and ADHD and all kinds of issues. But I work with a lot of urticaria, as you can imagine, because I was able to fix it myself. So people like to come to me, but I'm totally committed to helping others correct their chronic skin issues. And now I want to, those of you probably all know Sarah, but I'd like her to do a little introduction as well, for those of you who don't know her well.
I'm Sarah Lepsy, and yeah, a lot of you probably know me. I won't go into my full story because that will take a really long time, but you can find it on my YouTube channel or on my blog. But I've had chronic spontaneous urticaria for over a decade, and my doctor was very dismissive. He was very cold, terrible bedside manner. I left his office with an antidepressant and a referral to therapy. So, needless to say, it was very depressing. He did not address my hives at all. So, I was self medicating. I was like Jodi, taking a lot of Benadryl to help me sleep. It didn't help my hives at all, but it just got me through the night so I could sleep. I was so desperate. And I had a lot of side effects and long term ramifications from that. But I just was really so desperate for sleep. And, I was irritable. I was tired. That brain fog Jodi talked about, I suffered from that too. And it was really impacting my day-to-day life. I had a whole lot of mom guilt. I had a toddler at home and I wasn't really being a present parent. I just was getting through my day. I was really irritable and fighting with my husband. So my life just was at a really low point. And I knew I had to do something. My doctor wasn't helping me. So I knew I had to do something for myself. So that's what started me on my journey. And I started researching. And that's what led me to ultimately to functional medicine and to learning these techniques and identifying my triggers and learning these different lifestyle techniques to help manage my hives. It took me a long time to actually reach remission. I did end up working with a practitioner to get to my root causes. And I'm now finally in remission. It took me over 10 years. But I'm not on any medications now at all. I hardly even take any supplements. So I'm really excited about that. That experience led me to create the support groups and help support others put their hives into remission as well. And I was excited to meet Jodi last year after I heard her story and what she does. I've teamed up with Jodi to create the Urticaria Blueprint so that we can help people with chronic urticaria. And I'll hand it back over to Jodi so you can give the information you came for.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. And that's a really amazing point that you brought up, that it was hard to be present with your kids. And I'm sure so many of you can relate to that. I mean, if you can relate to that, maybe put a comment in the chat or on Facebook, put a comment in, because I had similar. I felt like I was cranky when I had the hives and exhausted, and I couldn't fully participate and be present with my family. And it's so disheartening, and it's such a joy now to be able to live the life I was meant to live and not be defined by my health problems. So anyway, this is a case study. This is a client I worked with a number of years ago. She was my first urticaria client, actually. And she came to me with other autoimmune spectrum issues like fibromyalgia and Hashimoto's, as well as debilitating migraines. And she had really bad GI issues. But every night the itching and the pain caused her insomnia. She was on Vicodin and Zantac and an antihistamine for her pain and suffering with hives. And what was great about it is we worked and her hives went away, among other things. And now she's off all her medications. She doesn't need any of those anymore. She's sleeping better. And like with the two of us, she can be a mom to her kids again. And she felt like she couldn't be. She was actually in bed by noon every day, writhing in pain with everything, with all her health issues. So we worked together about a year. And as a side effect, she actually lost 90 pounds of unwanted fat, which was really kind of cool. It's a side effect of getting healthy. She looks like a different person. But let's talk about how hives begin. And some of you might be aware that disease begins in the gut. Hippocrates himself said this many years ago. And this is no longer something that is out there. This is well established in the medical community. I know years ago, people used to say leaky gut. There's no such thing, but there really is. It's been well studied and well documented. So if you look on the left, the healthy gut has an intact 1-cell thick barrier here, where your food comes in, and basically a little tiny molecule of protein will go through that barrier, a little tiny molecule of vitamin A should go through. And that's how you digest your food and get it into your cells. And your immune system hangs out down here. You can imagine these sentinel cells kind of communicating with each other, saying, hey, what the heck is that? When you might eat something that it doesn't know what it is, and something comes through that it's going to react to. But what happens is when you have a leaky gut, which is over here on the right, you're going to wind up with these little dead body parts from microbes and food. Like instead of a molecule of vitamin A getting through, you might get an entire chunk of milk coming through, and your immune system responds. And through molecular mimicry, it can attack and kind of affect your skin for sure. Now, this urticaria is not considered a full-blown autoimmune disease, but it's definitely on the spectrum for autoimmune. So histamine overload really plays into this. It actually increases that intestinal permeability. So does things like low levels of vitamin D or certain medications. Believe it or not, Advil and different medications like that can do things like that. All kinds of gut issues can contribute. We find high levels of candida, or candida, some people call it, in people with urticaria. We find pathogens. We find H. pylori overgrowth. We find all kinds of issues. And some of you may have issues with motility, like constipation or diarrhea. Both of those have problems. If you have diarrhea, you're not absorbing nutrients very well because the transit time's too fast. And if you're constipated, you're not getting rid of toxins well because everything is recirculating. So we always look at the gut first. And this is one of the tests that we do in our program that we put together for you, is a stool test. So we want to do a complete DNA assay stool test so we know what's going on in your gut, and we can address these things via very targeted supplement and lifestyle changes. So everybody's program is going to be very individualized. And then I want to show you histamine is not necessarily a bad thing if it's necessary, and you couldn't survive without histamine. But the problem is with histamine overload with urticaria. So this is one of the reasons you have urticaria. Now, you might have some genetic reasons why you tend to not degrade histamine very well, but there could be some lifestyle choices that you're making that also contribute to this. So I will always have histamine genetic issues, but whether or not I get hives is a different story. And so many people are getting hives for a number of reasons, but you can see that it affects your skin here and could cause urticaria, but it affects other systems in your body, like your bones and your respiratory tract, everything. Your cardiovascular system is affected by histamine. So histamine intolerance, your microbes can actually produce histamine. So there are microbes in your body that produce it. If you're taking a probiotic, certain strains of probiotics can actually make histamine worse. So some people say, oh, I just want to take a probiotic because I heard they're healthy, and that could be contributing to your urticaria. So you want to take the right kinds of probiotics that don't liberate histamine. You know, some people might have impaired degradation. Again, you can't detoxify it well. They might be highly reactive to it. And high estrogen states actually raise histamine. So some people get a little more estrogen dominance. Even in menopause, you can be estrogen dominant, especially relative to progesterone, because progesterone levels drop first. So that can cause issues. Progesterone is actually histamine degrading. So there are things that you need to know, but just also know that hormones can be endogenous, which is the hormones that you make, your system, these messenger molecules that are made in your system. But there's also what's called exogenous hormones, which are estrogens that you get from your everyday products that you're using. Anything from drinking plastic BPA bottles to the shampoo and soaps and things like that that you're using have xenoestrogens. Even what you're using to fertilize your lawn or kill your weeds have xenoestrogens. So this can make your histamine overload worse. One other point I want to make up here is that medications that block histamine actually can have unintended consequences as well, and can make you dependent on those medications. So sometimes you start taking antihistamines and it's very hard to get off them. And so that can be a problem. But anyway, what we like to do, and what I always do, is test the gut. And I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but this is an example of one of the stool tests we use. I use several different ones, so it depends on the person and what they're faced with, but this is one of them that I use. And you could see it will measure the pathogenic overloads, any parasites that you might have, other viral pathogens that might be present. It measures the H. pylori, if there's an overgrowth in the system, how that can impede digestion and absorption of minerals and nutrients that can help your immune system fight the urticaria. You may have low levels of good bacteria. These are some of the good guys here, the normal flora that's in your gut. And these flora outnumber our own cells. We have more bacteria in our gut than we do have cells in our body, which is incredible. So it's funny when people start to use antibacterial soaps, I kind of laugh because it's like you're just teeming with bacteria. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. But these are some of the bully bacteria. These are some of the bad guys. And you could see this person in this example has high levels of Pseudomonas and staph and strep, and these can be triggers for the immune system, which can make things very bad for urticaria. This one, Klebsiella, is also a bad one. So look at all this, and we want to know, or maybe this person has SIBO too, they have some methane species showing up. We look at Candida, we look at viruses, we look at everything, and then we look at digestion and absorption. So all these are important. We look at the parasites. How much fat is in your stool? Is your gallbladder and liver all gunked up so you can't get rid of toxins? Is your beta-glucuronidase high? This is from these microbes. It gives off this beta-glucuronidase, but that makes you more estrogen dominant. So now you can't decouple estrogen, you can't get rid of it. And so you become more estrogen dominant and you can have more hives, and it can also have a lot of weight gain and other issues along with that. So we look at all these things and we want to know how's your intestinal lining? Do you have leaky gut? So these are all things that we look at. I wanted to mention some things that may not go so well and some things that will go well. So first of all, what you may have tried. So I think I mentioned some of these immunosuppressants can actually bring your immune systems down so that you cannot fight maybe other diseases. You're more likely to get COVID, you're more likely to get cancer, you're more likely to get another autoimmune disease. Now, I'm not saying go off your immunosuppressant because it may be giving you blessed relief right now, but we want to get to all the root causes. And then hopefully with the help of your provider, you can wean off your immunosuppressant. And that's exactly what I've done for so many of my clients, is help them to do that. Some of these H2 blockers, unfortunately, are not good because they mess with your stomach acid. And stomach acid is critical for breaking down nutrients. And if you're not getting good nutrients in, your hives can get worse. So in the long run, these H2 blockers can make things worse. Steroids have their own issues. This can cause thrush and can cause problems with candida overgrowth. So what's the solution? You could definitely use these, and short-term use is fine, but long-term use can be problematic. And I know the problem is that doctors don't have many other solutions. I know they're trying, but they prescribe these things and you go on them for a long time. Same with biologics. I know these are getting a lot of press lately, but again, they're going to suppress your immune system, make you more likely to have other health issues. And there's some real warnings on these boxes. So you may want to really look at that before you take something like that. But again, it can help you with short-term relief. Some of these treatments contain toxins and immunosuppressants that make your hives worse. So here are some better alternatives, and that is a multifaceted approach. So we want to do the lab testing like that stool test that I showed you. You want to be eating the right foods so that your hives don't come back. You want to be avoiding toxins and also working strongly on detoxifying, but not too strongly because that can make your hives worse. So it's a delicate balance of degunking your liver and gallbladder and then helping you to open up those detox pathways in a gentle way, in a way that makes it so your hives don't get worse. It's a balancing act. We also look at stress reduction, as most of you know that stress can definitely exacerbate your hives, right? And having low levels of cortisol can do that as well, or high levels of cortisol can definitely make your hives worse. So we want to balance your hormones there. And then we want to degrade histamine. So there's definitely some things we can do for relief that help to degrade that histamine. And these things coupled together can really make a big difference for you. So these are some of the triggers for this autoimmune spectrum. And we talked about the food choices. If foods don't give nutrients or look like a toxin, it can increase stress and increase urticaria. And that was one of my problems. I really thought I was eating a healthy diet, and it wasn't healthy at all when I look back at what I was eating. Most people think they eat a healthy diet, and They don't realize some of the things they're eating can make hives worse. And then the toxins, these are environmental toxins, the toxins in the food I was eating, everything can actually increase stress, impair metabolism. And toxins can actually make it harder for you to detox. I met with a client today that had really high levels of BPA in his system, and that was interfering with his ability to detoxify. So that levels were so crazy high of all the different toxins because the BPA was so high. And then stress depletes nutrients, impairs digestion, and impairs detoxification. So you put that all together, your body cannot tolerate and regulate itself intelligently, and you wind up with itchy skin. So these are some of the ingredients to avoid. And I think some of you will be really surprised to see, some of these sunscreens that you may be using, some of these products like Mrs. Meyer's. I thought that was a great option. They sell it at Whole Foods. How bad can it be, right? Or this organic coconut stuff that actually they found is carcinogenic. But I was using all these things, and these actually are what we call greenwashers, and they contain ingredients that can make urticaria worse. They contain fragrances and endocrine disruptors that can make urticaria worse. And then on the bottom right, you could see a lot of the toxins. And I don't know if any of you have any questions on any of those, but medications are toxins, cleaning supplies are toxins, pesticides are toxins. So your body has a burden. The body burden of these chemicals can add up over time. And eventually your body says, I've had enough. And that's when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I got hives. It's like, it wasn't out of nowhere. This stuff's been building up for years. It's just your immune system is overwrought because all these things built up so much. So we teach you what to do and how to get these things out of the proper resources. In fact, we have a handout that we're going to give all of you that has the products that I use personally. So you could check those out and some of the things to avoid, et cetera. But really, you need to explore everything to get the best results. So here's another lab test that I look at for my clients, and this is the toxicity test. So you could see on the left, these are mycotoxins. These are things like mold, which can make hives really bad. I've seen this many times. There's so many different types of molds, and we know what to do with each species and how to kind of pull it out of your system. And then on the top right, the toxic elements. And that was one of my issues. I had incredibly high levels of mercury in my system and some other heavy metals, which made it very, very hard for me to detoxify, and it messed up my gut. And now I'm happy to say my mercury levels are at 0. So, at least on the test it is. I don't know if it's completely 0, but it's pretty close. And then there's environmental toxins. So, by the way, mold was an issue for me too, but these environmental toxins are more like parabens that we talked about, and BPA and glyphosate, things like that. So we could test those and see how much of that is in your system. This is just a little piece of those tests. There's these tests are really quite comprehensive. I couldn't fit it all on the slide, but you get the idea. So you might have tried some things that didn't go so well, like medical treatments that we talked about, diagnose and prescribe model. You might have tried some homeopathic remedies, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and these can certainly be helpful. Some people try oatmeal baths, hypnosis, phototherapy. They may just go out and buy a bunch of supplements that they've heard are good for hives and try specialized diets, but not all these things will work for every person. In fact, I've had people come to me that were on extremely low histamine diets, and that's not necessarily a good thing for a number of reasons. So we look at each individual and what they need and what they're doing and give them better solutions than what you see here that really address the hives from every angle. And it's almost like a rocket launch. You have to turn all the keys in order for it to work. So we turn all the keys, we identify the issues and turn the keys. So our program gets to the root causes. It's comprehensive. We first start out with rapid relief. So I always try to help my clients with one area. They might come and say, oh, I have such bad acid reflux, or I get migraines, or I have sleep issues. And we start with that, and we try to give some relief in that area and even some supplements that can degrade histamine to help with the hives. And we give some recommendations right off the bat. But then we work on the root causes and we go and do those tests that I was showing you. And depending on the person, we could do different tests depending on what your needs are. But there are no harmful medications used, and we have a proven track record of just helping so many clients overcome urticaria. So it's really fun. But you may have tried creams and topical lotions, and calamine lotion actually has carrageenan in it, which is a known carcinogen. Hydrocortisone has its own issues. It can cause color changes in your skin and rashes around things, dryness, etc., irritation. And these I don't think they work so well. They didn't work for me at all. But we're going to give you that superfoods. Sarah's going to go ahead and put it in the comments below or in the chat, and you can get the 25 superfoods for urticaria. You can just grab a copy of that. But we're going to list some of the ingredients to avoid, like I mentioned, and also some suggestions for air filtration and water filtration to keep the toxins low. But I want to talk to you about the Urticaria Blueprint, because we're going to be dealing with rapid relief, but we're also going to be providing group support. And I think actually there's a book by James Maskell called Heal Community, and it talks about how people in the community that have a similar disease, when they're in a group together and they work together, they actually get better results than people going to a doctor one-on-one or a medical provider or a coach one-on-one. And so by doing a group, we actually can all support each other. And I know that's part of the nice thing about the community that you're in with the group that Sarah made for all of you. But this is much more intimate. We would do a Zoom meeting like we're doing now, but we'd be able to see everybody. You could turn your camera off if you're too shy. That's okay. And we do, we're going to be doing about 13 group sessions throughout the program. It's about every other week. And we're going to be teaching you how to detox and heal your gut in these sessions. But you're also going to get a customized program one-on-one with a practitioner. This is a functional medicine practitioner. So this is when you meet one-on-one, and it's going to include a total of 6 sessions with that practitioner to really customize the program for you. So because what causes urticaria in one person can have different drivers in another person. So we have to identify what's causing it in your unique body. And I wish it was easier than that, because none of us would have it if it was a simple solution, but it's not. It's complex. So we go through it all, and we include this all in the Urticaria Blueprint. I want to show you, this is Shelly, who came to me from this group. I don't know if she's watching us right now, but she said out of nowhere, she started breaking out in hives on her face, her lip swells. Within a couple of days, she had hives all over her body. She went to her doctor, gave her an injection. The hives went away, but came back with a greater force. But once we started working together, she lost 17 pounds. She's sleeping better. The bloating, parasites, and hives are gone. It's been life-changing. So with her, we identified parasites were a drive, and they're much more common than you think. People think, oh, I have to go to Mexico or go to another country to get a parasite. No, you could get them right here in the US. And that was one of the reasons for her bloating, but everything was gone. She's sleeping better, and she's like a new person. She looks absolutely amazing. I can't believe the difference. So congratulations, Shelly. This is Stacy. She saw one of my videos in the group last time I came in your group, and she's a registered nurse, actually. And she came in and worked with one of my practitioners, and we were able to basically treat her. She was able to get off all her prescription medication. She's been hive-free for many weeks as of this publication here. And she basically said she's been the most thorough practitioner I've ever had the pleasure to work with. I can tell that the amount of research and time she puts into me as a patient, she truly cares about my health and well-being. So anyway, so this is one of the people we worked with. Her urticaria is gone. That's a picture of her actual skin on the top right. That was the before. And then Phyllis also is from this group, and she met with me, and we worked with her for a little while. And then she went off, and I got this letter from her saying that since she's worked with us, her urticaria is completely gone. Her body's finally at peace. No more creepy, crawly itches rashes or hives. I totally eliminated all antihistamines. She was on 11 prescriptions and now is down to 2. How did I cope so long? She also had embarrassing bathroom accidents and she couldn't sleep at night and she lost 20 pounds. So those are all gone. The accidents are gone. She's able to sleep now and she lost 20 pounds. So this is all possible for you. And we really want to encourage you to sign up for the Urticaria Blueprint. Sarah and I worked hard to put this program together. And it's going to be probably the most comprehensive solution to getting rid of urticaria once and for all. We are committed to helping you end the suffering. We have a proven method that works for reversing urticaria. And I love getting messages like we saw earlier all the time. But the program is going to include, like I said, personalized sections with the functional medicine practitioner, as well as the group sessions. Sarah and I will be leading those. You're going to get lab interpretations with customized interventions, and you're going to get supplement and food recommendations as well. So this program we put together is a $9,800 value. To work with me one-on-one is anywhere from $5,800 to $9,800. This is, we put everything together and figured out the value of it's $9,800, but we have decided to offer it to this group for only $39.99. And you can do monthly payments. Sarah, was it $6.99 a month or was it?
Yeah, $6.99.
So you could do $6.99 a month for 6 months, or just the $39.99 in full. So the last day to register for this program is October 17th, and we are limiting it. So sign up early if you want to do it, because we may have to cut off the number of people we take, because I only have so many practitioners in my practice that can handle the overload. So it's a very special offer for this group, and it's definitely much more comprehensive than anything we've ever done before because of the group session. So you're going to get time with me going through everything that you need to do to get better, but you're also going to get all the personalized lab interpretation and recommendations. Now, this does not include the cost of lab work. We do not upcharge lab work at all. It's the base cost that we pay, and most of this lab work is not covered by insurance. But you can certainly put it through on a, if you have an FSA or HSA program, you can charge it to that. It does not include the cost of supplements, which can be, temporarily supplements that you're going to need to address the imbalances in your system. But we do give you a discount, a lifetime discount on these supplements, which can save you a lot of money. So one thing is for sure, the future is coming no matter what. And you can hop on board and really get the optimal results that you're looking for. And like Sarah and I, be hive-free and feeling good, and, not having all the side effects of the hives and the lifestyle interference of the hives. Or, you could continue, and sometimes the hives can continue to get worse. And being on these medications is a roller coaster that can long-term make your hives worse as well. So we hope you do decide to join us for the program, because we would love to see you all feeling as good as we do. But I want to thank you so much for coming and joining us. So if you guys want to do the program, Sarah's going to put the link. It's urticariablueprint.com. We actually got the URL. and you could just go on and sign up today. I think we have some questions, so I want to answer them. Why do some people get hives because of these products? So I'm not sure which products. Sorry, I didn't keep up with it. But I think he means some of the products that like Mrs. Meyer soap and things like that. And it's not a direct, well, sometimes it's direct, like you'll put something on your skin and you'll react to it, right? That's an allergy. But what these products do is they contain endocrine disrupting, and they contain toxins and endocrine disruptors, which can mess with your hormones, make you more estrogen dominant, which can liberate more histamine. So that's how they indirectly make things worse. And the thing is, use it once, no big deal. I mean, if I'm in an airport bathroom and I forgot to bring the soap, then I actually bring my own soap. But if I forget, I'll just use it for a second. But the problem is using this stuff every day. Your liver can't handle all the overload of these toxins. So if you put it on your skin, it goes right into your bloodstream. If you eat it, your liver, it gets first pass liver clearance. So in other words, your liver can detoxify before it gets into your bloodstream. When you put it on your skin, it only takes 26 seconds to get into your bloodstream and really wreak havoc with your body and your hormones. So we see so much cancer now. One thing I'm going to advise you all to do is stop using dryer sheets. Stop using toxic detergents because you're breathing it and it's getting into your lungs, and and these things are just so toxic. Don't use plugins. We talk about all these things in our program. We're going to be going through like exactly what to do to detoxify your home, and all the things that you need to do to live a healthier lifestyle. And the good news is, once you start detoxifying, you're much less likely to get any other diseases like cancer or another autoimmune disease or anything. And we find that people that work with us, not only do their hives go away, but if they have unwanted weight, they lose it. If they have anxiety, it tends to go away. If they have acid reflux, gut issues, bloating, gas, all these things tend to go away because we're basically affecting every cell in your body. Existing in the world is overwhelming. Yeah, especially now. There's a lot going on. It's rough. Unfortunately, insurance does not cover the cost of this program. And it's absolutely dumbfounding to me why it wouldn't, because it's actually getting people off medications so that they're not using their insurance for the rest of their life on medications. But right now, unfortunately, insurance does not cover it. I wish it would. These labs are available in the US. Rebecca's asking, are they available outside the US? And the answer is yes. Most countries, we can get the labs to you. It sometimes gets a little trickier, but it should be available worldwide. Okay. The average cost of the lab work, it depends what you need. So we always start out with blood lab work, and we'll start out with the labs that you have already had from your insurance, from your doctor, from the last 2 years. Now, if you don't have any labs from the last 2 years, we can facilitate getting those for you. And the blood labs are usually under $150, usually under $100. It just depends on what we need, so we're going to look at a lot of different markers. And even if your doctor says everything's normal is the reference range represents 95% of the population. Okay. Are 95% of the people optimally healthy out there? The answer is no way. So I don't know if that was a great way to correlate it, but you get my point that there's so much you can glean from reference ranges. There's so much information I can glean looking at your labs to figure out what's going on. And sometimes I can look at labs and figure out so many things we don't even need to order other labs, but usually we do with urticaria. So there may be a stool test involved. There may be an organics acids test or a toxicity test, and we can work within your budget to order these things. They're usually under $300 each, these labs, but we may not need to get them at all. We might need to do a hormone test to figure out if you're estrogen dominant or not. And we can do that with blood work, or we could do a urine test, which is a little more expensive. So I hope that makes sense. Heather's asking, do we have a money back guarantee? And actually we do. It's on the, if you go to urticaria.com, urticariablueprint.com, you'll see that we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. The only thing is we will subtract out the cost if you've met with the practitioner, because we have to pay them a substantial amount on the visits. And this is why, unfortunately, it's expensive. I have doctors and nurse practitioners on my staff, and we're not an insurance-based company. So we will take that off. But other than that, you will get the money back if you're not satisfied with the program. What are the supplements? It really depends, Mary. Oh man, there are so many. And these are not the kind of supplements that you buy at Costco. Nothing against Costco or Walmart or anything like that. But these are clinical grade supplements. They're different. And sometimes the ones that you buy at Costco, I look at and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually doing more harm than good. So, and some of them can actually make hives worse, depending on, the cheaper the supplement in general. Sometimes they have artificial colors and all these things in them that can make your hives worse. It can really trigger your immune system. But even if they don't, they may have the wrong forms of, like, vitamin B6 has a few different forms. Vitamin B12 has several different forms, and we want to get the right forms of those supplements. So, we do get you recommendations on that, and we do give you a discount for life on those supplements. So over the years, you could save quite a bit of money, thousands of dollars, even with your whole family. Like if you need something for your kids or whatever, you get a lifetime discount on our dispensary. Okay, let's see. Is this program for someone who has mild hives or severe hives? It's either. It's for anybody who has hives. So if they're getting in the way of your life, or, if you're just annoyed by mild hives, they can get worse in certain situations, or they're a sign that something's wrong in your system that needs to be corrected. So sometimes I have people come to me that just want to live a healthy lifestyle, and they want me to do tests to figure out, okay, is everything okay with my gut? Is everything okay with my hormones? What needs to be adjusted? Because, you want to live as long as you can, as healthy as you can. And I think the way we're living now is people are just getting sicker and sicker. They may be living longer, but they're getting put on more and more medications. And I could speak, my father-in-law currently is on 17 medications, and it's heartbreaking for me, but that's the route he goes. He's, and he thinks that's keeping him alive, which is great, but he's got a lot of ailments. So I'm hoping, even going through our program, you're going to learn life skills that will keep you healthier for life. And it's an investment in your health. And I know those of you who are moms out there and want to be good moms to your kids, and you're hoping you sometimes only put the kids first. This is for you, and you'll be a better mom being healthier and not being annoyed by hives all the time. So it's just I think it's just a great investment, and the price point is really, really excellent for what you're getting. Is TSH a total test, a full test of your thyroid? No, Maria, it is not. Great question. So TSH is only telling us your hypothalamus in your brain is stimulating your pituitary to release TSH, to your thyroid to release, that's thyroid stimulating hormone. It tells your thyroid to release T4, and T4 is released, and it has to be converted to T3 in order to have cellular effects. T4 has very little cellular effects. So we look at that. We look at the autoimmune numbers too when we test the thyroid, and I probably would test all of your thyroids. It's not a very expensive test to test all the markers that we like to test. And I will tell you, I have uncovered Hashimoto's thyroiditis in dozens and dozens of clients that I've worked with. Just doing the test based on their symptoms, I wanted to test their thyroid, and I found that they have autoimmune thyroid, and they didn't even know it. So that it's a master hormone, and we have a saying in functional medicine: sluggish thyroid, sluggish everything. And if you have a sluggish thyroid, you're going to have sluggish clearance of toxins. You're going to have everything. I mean, it's sluggish clearance of histamine. So that's something that we look at carefully. So yeah, Heather, I'm sorry. Canada has free healthcare. I know. And yes, I've worked with several Canadian clients, and unfortunately, it costs money to work with us, and it's just something I wish we could, I wish we could do it. I wish the insurance would pay for it, but it doesn't. So if you can find a functional practitioner that has worked with urticaria in Canada, you can ask. I know we have another woman from this group who's tried and didn't have much success in Canada with any practitioners there. What has been the success rate been with this program? Okay, so this is the first time we've offered this particular program. I have been in the group and offered one-on-ones with my staff. This is much more comprehensive, which is great because it includes the group aspect. But as far as the success rate I've had with urticaria, I will say all but one. And that one I'm still working with, so I'm trying. It's just, Everyone else, we have been able to either completely, it's almost never to have hives, or completely 100% reversal. So I want to keep my track record. I cannot guarantee that you will be hive free. I can't, but I will say I have a really good track record, and I know I'm super confident I'm going to be able to help you all. But there's no guarantee. But if I can cut your symptoms by 80%, would you be happy with that? And I'm hoping I could do 100%. I like to under promise and over deliver. And there's only been one person that, we're still working with her after a year and in the beginning, she actually had resolution of the hives, but then they came back. So we're working on some things with her, but it's still this, you can go down a lot of rabbit holes figuring things out. How often do you restart the program? We don't know yet. I'm sorry, we just don't, Rena. So if you want to plan for the cost, I mean, you can pay monthly, as I said. One of the things you might want to consider is looking into getting a 0 interest credit card. And if you get a 0 interest credit card for 12 months, you could take that cost of the program, the $39.99, divide it by 12. So I'll just get my calculator really quickly here. I'm bad with math. So let's see, $39.99 divided by 12 payments. So that would be $333 a month. So per week, it's about $77 a week. If you can budget that in and get the 0 interest credit card, maybe that's the way to do it. We're only going to be opening the cart for a week. So you all have first priority, the ones that are watching this right now. We are probably going to cut off the number of people that will do it if we get a lot. So I have no idea how many people are going to sign up. I hope a lot of you do. And I hope we don't have to cut it off, but you all will have first priority. I don't know when we will be repeating it, but we'll probably be doing it like this, where we have a sign up period for a week and then we just run the program. So now's the time to do it if you want to do it. And I hope we're going to continue to do this, but for right now, that's what we're doing. Thanks everybody. It says thanks for the info. How do you address other autoimmune issues that might arise, or is that extra? No, Mary, actually, that's all part of this, is addressing why your immune system is both weak and overwrought. So by addressing the urticaria, you're going to be addressing other autoimmune spectrum activity and hopefully putting everything into remission, which I have people sometimes that'll come to me with 4 or 5 autoimmune spectrum diseases. And we're usually able to reverse all of them, if not most of them, or get the symptoms way down by addressing all the different things. Jen says she's working with a naturopath for hormone relief. She's helped a lot with her hives. That's great. So she's working with a lot of people right now, but you could look at some of the tests that we're offering. There's definitely some toxicity tests from Vibrant Labs that we look at. We look at a comprehensive stool. The problem is if your doctor does not know how to interpret these labs, it's not really going to help you to have them done. Because I literally have studied functional medicine for 8 years, and these tests are complex. And my staff is all very seasoned and knows what they're doing with the functional medicine lab work. But we look at a comprehensive DNA assay stool test. We look at toxicity tests. We look at organics acids testing. So those are the tests that mainly we look at. But I also look at everyday annual physical labs, and we add a bunch of markers too. Sometimes we look at food sensitivity. There's all kinds of different labs that we might need, but it all depends on what we see in your first set of labs, what we recommend that you go for. And like I said, we sometimes do a Dutch hormone test or just a regular hormone test, a blood hormone. Sometimes we'll do saliva. It just depends if it's a cortisol issue or what we're suspecting. So I wish it was an easier answer. Does the plan continue past a year if necessary? So it's a 6-month program. I know I said 13 sessions, I think it is. So it's about twice a month, roughly. And we are thinking about doing a membership after, which would be a lot less money to continue to get the support. But it just depends how it goes. I did this for my I have another program for vitiligo. That's the disease Michael Jackson had. And we do similar where we do a big group program and then everybody meets individually. And a lot of people dropped off because their hives are gone. So and then some people continue with the membership because they like the support, or maybe they're not completely done. That one takes longer to repigment your skin. It's actually, I find urticaria is actually easier to reverse than something like vitiligo. Okay. What kind of commitment does the program involve? So it's $39.99 is the price. It is a 6 months of payments is the commitment, and it is a 6-month program. So we're gonna have meetings. If you can't make the meetings, they're all recorded, so you can just listen to them after. You'll be part of our portal once you sign up. You get in the portal. We already have some prep modules you can do to take a look at. And I'm gonna be putting some more in this week of things that you can start on right away to get you some relief. And then this is going to start in November. I believe it's November 2nd is our first meeting. So then we're going to start with the meetings and you can start making appointments with your practitioner you'll be assigned to start meeting one-on-one and going through all the things that you need to do. So we have one more question. Have you had much experience with clients who have had urticaria triggered from a vaccine that became chronic urticaria? Great question, Linda. And the answer is yes. Not only urticaria, but, and I'm not anti-vax, don't go on any kind of soapbox here, for judicious use of vaccines. And if any of you have children, it's a good idea if you're going to vaccinate your kids to spread out the vaccinations and not do them all at once, or not do them all within the first year. Spread them out as much as you can. And there's protocols for this, but yeah, the problem with some of the vaccines, not only for the COVID vaccine, is spike protein can set things off with your immune system, and adjuvants in the shots can set off your immune system as well. And shots either have mercury or ammonia. I think it's ammonia, mercury, or formaldehyde. Take your pick, but they have to have something to trigger your immune system to get a response. So it does have poison, basically a little bit of poison in it. And this can trigger your immune system when it's like a funnel. It's like you have some levels of toxicity that come up. Your body may not detox well, but it's detoxing a little, it comes down, and then it goes up, and then it comes down, and then you get a shot and it puts you over the edge. And that's why not everybody has a problem with shots, but a lot of people do, because they're already almost at the top of the funnel. And, this is why, this is such a controversy over whether shots cause autism. And they don't cause autism because every kid would be autistic, but we see a 700% increase in autism now because of that toxicity, right? But the kid is already so toxic, and then the shots can put them over the edge. So, and that's something we work with also, is autism. We work with ADHD, and reversing those is even easier than urticaria. So these are all just things to consider. But in terms of like anything we can help you with. But anyway, somebody's asking, can you contact with me with other questions? Sure. You can go to my website personally, jodifranklin.com, JODI franklin.com. And you can book a quick phone call with me if you need to. You can book an intro call. It's like a 15-minute call. And there's no charge for that if any of you want to do that, if you need further clarification about the program. Yeah, I don't have a group program, Bev, for autism. I'm sorry to hear that your grandson has it, but I will tell you that you should meet with us one-on-one if the mom and dad are open to it, because it is reversible. And we have seen just crazy turnarounds with autism. So yeah, Sarah just put my website in the chat there. So jodifranklin.com. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much for coming today, and we'll post this in the group if you want to watch it, and make sure you're on the email list for the group too. You can message Sarah and give her your email, and she'll put you on the email list. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to a lot of you, and I wish you much less itching, and I hope we get a chance to meet with all of you and work with you. And if not, I hope that some of this information was helpful to you at least. And Sarah, thank you so much. And Sarah's big part of this program. She's going to be meeting with you also. She is wonderful and has so much great insight on lifestyle, the lifestyle piece of this. It made a huge difference for her too. So it's a 1-2 punch. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. All right, everybody. Well, take care.